Hey, what's up, guys? Sean Wilson here with 5 Minute Friday, brought to you exclusively by thelibertybell.com. The Liberty Bell, where we promote liberty all across its many uh, avenues. It's one of those days, folks. It's Friday. It's beautiful weather here in South Louisiana. I'm ready to go and chill, but we've got a lot of things to do. Um, it's been a busy week. I don't know about you guys, but holy cow, crazy week. Want to start off with the breaking news. Was it Monday or Tuesday? Tulsi Gabbard officially announcing that she was leaving the Democratic Party. And then I don't know if you went over and read her Substack, which I highly recommend you doing. She lays out the case of how absolutely out of control the Democratic Party is and what it means for the future of our country. And it is a blistering takedown of the Democratic Party. But here's my thing. Who didn't see this coming? I've been saying this since the 2020 election that she was out. You could just tell. I know Tulsi leans left primarily. She's more of a classic liberal in the vein of JFK than she is a contemporary progressive psychopath like Hillary Clinton and most of the Democrats today. So I was not shocked by this. I've seen this coming personally. I think this is really good for the country. Tulsi Gabbard is an up-and-coming stateswoman who has great ideas and who I think is a great balance to folks like Donald Trump or even Ron DeSantis, Rand Paul, and a few others. So I'm not really shocked by this. This is actually a really good move for our country because here's my hope. My hope is that Tulsi will not jump to the Republican Party because there's a crap load of things I'm frustrated with the Republican Party with. I'm hoping that she will find a party where she feels most comfortable that isn't one of the two. She's obviously left a Democrat. There's no need for her to go to Republican. And can start building the consensus of a third or even fourth party. We need more parties in our country because here's the deal. Like I said last week when I was talking about Jeff Landry, which I will link below that you can see, there's no difference in the Democrats and the Republicans. Take the last 6 elections outside of Donald Trump and you tell me how much difference it's been. It really hasn't been. Mega spending, wars, more taxes, more spending, more wars, more taxes, less freedom. That's been it. We have not had, look, and I'm not even saying Donald Trump was great. There's a lot of good things he did, but again, he started the whole stimulus package thing for the coronavirus. He did some stuff in Syria in the very beginning that was really unconstitutional, and really he governed by executive fiat with executive orders. So it's like, I'm not saying, look, we have not had a constitutional president. 150 years, guys. It's a long time. We can trace big government back to 2 people in this current government and the style of government back to 2 people. Alexander Hamilton, who was a mega centralized government, centralized banking guy who promoted that in the early founding part of America, but never really took hold because guys like Thomas Jefferson, James Madison, Benjamin Rush were out here talking about liberty, Patrick Henry. But really when it took root in America is Abraham Lincoln, is where it came from. The current executive fiat rule of an executive office is directly tied to the administration of Abraham Lincoln. And that's just a fact. I know we revere him and all of these things, but history paints him a little bit too good of a guy or as a president than he really was. But that's for a different video. So Tulsi Gabbard, thank you for doing something that I wish Rand Paul and some of these other guys would do on the Republican side of things. So I think it's really good. I'm excited for you. I think you're one of the best stateswomen stateswomen. How do you say that? That we have in America. I'm not saying I agree with everything you do, but I love you. I think you're great, and I'm looking forward to the future of what you bring to the liberty movement. So I appreciate you standing by your integrity and jumping ship and getting off that sinking hellhole that is the Democratic Party. Number two, Alex Jones in the billion, yes, I said that with a B, $1 billion lawsuit or indictment that was handed down against him in the Sandy Hook shooting conspiracy thing. Here's the deal, folks. I have known and watched Alex Jones since he was a closed circuit television broadcaster in Austin, Texas. Now he's still in Austin, but I've followed him for 20 plus years. Okay, so I've been an Alex Jones fan for a long time. I'm not saying everything he said is right, but Alex Jones has been more right than he's been wrong. Okay, so this whole idea that Alex Jones is some kind of horrible bad guy predicted 9/11 6 months before it happened. I mean, that's just a historical fact. And matter of fact, not only did he predict it, he told you exactly what they were going to do. The guy knows his junk, okay? And so I'm not shocked by what's happening simply because Alex Jones literally is the godfather of the alternative media movement. And so they want to get rid of him. The guy has built an empire that's bigger than CNN. He has more viewers than CNN, all of this. This guy built an empire and people listen to him. I mean, he is making huge waves in the liberty movement. There is no liberty movement. And this is going to be super controversial because everyone's like, he's a conspiracy nut. He's not. He's a smart dude who knows things and he knows how to see what's coming. Prophet, whatever you want to call him, I don't care. But Alex Jones is a threat to the tyrants that rule in Washington. He's a threat to big business tyrants. He's a threat to the establishment, so much so that they're doing everything to rid him of existence. I mean, they deplatformed across the social media platforms, and he's still bigger than ever. Why? Because people don't run to a conspiracy nut if he's not telling the truth. They don't run to a conspiracy nut if he's wrong all the time. They just don't. You don't build a multi-million-dollar empire and be wrong consistently. I'm not saying you don't be wrong occasionally, because certainly that happens, right? But this guy has done something that few have done. I think the only other guy and the only other full-on streaming platform that is bigger than Alex Jones would be Glenn Beck. And the reason Glenn Beck is bigger is really Glenn Beck kind of went from radio to television, and he had already built a pretty huge empire on radio. Alex Jones started, look, I remember it was like a white table with a tablecloth over it in his garage with a camera. I mean, the guy started from nothing. Alex Jones is the epitome of the American entrepreneurial dream and highlight. And the reason he's a threat is because he exposes everything they do, like 9/11, or the Bohemian Grove. It's all funny now. 12, 15 years ago when I was watching, you had to get the DVDs from him. And it was like underground secret places. You had to find it on the internet to watch his stuff. Like, people were freaking out about it. Like, this is crazy. Like, everyone laughs about it now, but he was right. He was right. And so this is a threat to free speech, what they're doing. $1 billion that they're going to come at Alex Jones with, that he's going to be required to pay. This is a threat because here's what if they can take down Alex Jones, then guess what? And Alex talks about this in an interview with Steven Crowder on Steven Crowder's Ash Wednesday a couple of weeks ago. If you missed that, you need to go check it out. Steve talks about this in the sense of that they talk about in the community, in the judge and all these guys talking, that they can get rid of Alex. They can get rid of Steve Crowder. They can get rid of Glenn Beck. They can get rid of Michael Malice. They can get rid of Joe Rogan. They can get rid of, just keep going. They can get rid of me. I mean, like, I'm just a little dude who's got a small website, who's trying to promote liberty the best I can. I'm not a general in this army, right? I'm a private over here, right? But if they take out these guys, guess what? They're coming for every other independent media source that's out there. And that's exactly what this is, because I promise you they're coming to do that. This is not something I'm like, well, it's a conspiracy theory. It is a fact. You can see it coming. If you're not paying attention to it, it doesn't negate the fact that it's true, because that's what's happening. Take out Alex Jones, next one's up, Steve Crowder, Glenn Beck, all these other guys. And that's what's going to happen. So what do I think about it? I don't know. I'm not trying to say it's scary, but it's kind of crazy, right? And if we're going to let this stand, we shouldn't, honestly, at the end of the day. So next topic, PayPal. PayPal comes out earlier this week and says that they're going to fine you $2,500 if you're promoting misinformation. Because, a private company can do that, right? No, they can't. Who cares? Buy PayPal. See ya. Don't need your services anymore. This is the same. This is like red light cameras. Red light cameras are just a farce. It's a private business setting up a camera, taking pictures of you, and then partnering with the government so they can essentially fine you or ticket you. They don't hold up in court. They never do. And this is the same thing. Who is PayPal? What government authority is PayPal to be fining people for misinformation? And who are going to watch the watchers and what misinformation is? Because 2 years ago, a year and a half ago, that if you said a certain medicine was a treatment for a certain disease, you were kicked off of social media. Now the CDC on their website says this certain medicine is an effective treatment for this certain disease. So who are the fact checkers? Who's going to watch the watchers? This is where we're at, folks. We are not free. I know we think it. I know. And on July 4th, we're going to, shoot fireworks and wear all our red, white, and blue. But you're not free. I don't know if any of you have seen that show on Amazon Prime called The Man in the High Castle. If you haven't, it's a fantastic. I'm only in episode 7 of the first season, but so far or 8. It's been fantastic. And this it's kind of feeling very similar, right? Okay, so the Japanese take over the West Coast, the Nazis take over the East Coast and middle of the country, and there's this like buffer zone in the middle of the Rocky Mountains. And people live not much different than they would have, I guess, but there's tyranny, right? It's this, you don't really get to you're not as free as you think you are, right? You're not allowed to own guns, these kind of things. We are there. We're there, guys. I know you don't think it. I know people don't think that we're there, but just express your opinion. I mean, I've had my own videos removed off of YouTube because I disagreed with the president of the United States. I wasn't promoting misinformation. I was actually instructing him to do something to help ease the tension in our country. They took it off. I've been kicked off of Twitter 3 or 4 times at this point. I don't even try to play with it anymore. We do not live in a free country. We live in a country that is ruled by the elite. And what is the elite? Because this is a very vague, right, term. We live in a country where big government and big business and big pharma or whatever, military industrial complex, all kind of float together. And they come and they work together. So PayPal is being used as the censorship arm of the federal government. So here's what everyone thinks. Well, the First Amendment only applies to the government, right? It doesn't apply to Facebook, right? I disagree with that, but I'm not here to debate that. But what it is there was such a shout and a scream of censorship throughout the whole coronavirus thing that the government is now going around the Constitution and because we know, Mark Zuckerberg said it on Joe Rogan's podcast, that the government's going to these big tech companies and going to big businesses, and they're saying, hey, if people are doing this, we want you to essentially silence them, right? That is censorship. just because the government's going around the Constitution doesn't make it okay, right? It's not. It is the government doing something it is not allowed to constitutionally do. And the problem is the reason people aren't more upset about it is they don't know the Constitution. They haven't read it, or they haven't read it since high school, if they read it then. And so we have a whole population of people who've been uneducated, right? They go to school to be uneducated or indoctrinated into Marxism, communism, really a Nazi ideology that's promoted to make government God, government, the king, the ruler, and the people who resist are the threat. So instead of doing it right, because look, I know a lot, we say all the time that the government's stupid, it's run by a bunch of idiots, but it's not really, okay? These people know what they're doing, and they know how to do it effectively. And so what they do is they know, well, if we were to go and just go right to Alex Jones or Glenn Beck or whoever, me, maybe not as big as a thing as if they did to me, but they go to these guys and they lock them up, right? They arrest them for saying that Sandy Hook was a conspiracy and nobody really died. They say that, if the government goes with weapons and federal troops or whoever, National Guard, FBI, whoever they send, and arrest Alex Jones, there's going to be a huge uproar, hopefully. Well, they know they don't want to do that. So potentially like, hey, let's not do that. Let's go around the back. Let's go maybe fund some lawsuits. Let's take them off of platforms. Let's go to Facebook and tell them to get rid of them, or Twitter and tell them to get rid of them. Let's go to YouTube and tell them to get rid of them. And so that's what they do. And so they silence you. They silence your voice. They silence your ideas through their minions. And let's just be honest. People are like, well, Facebook's a private company. No, it's not. It gets government funding, okay? I don't get government funding. Not for the Liberty Bell. I mean, like, I could use way more funding. But I don't get government funding, right? So it's not a private company. Here's my opinion on that, and then I'll close. And I see some chats in here. This is cool. This is the first time I'm doing it, so I appreciate this guy who's in here chatting. It looks like he said we don't deserve him. I'm assuming you're talking about Alex. We don't deserve him, right? But back to we as a society look at these guys as private companies. My opinion is this: any company that gets federal funds and state funds, right, government funds, are not private. They're public because I'm paying for that. Those are coming from my tax dollars. So I should have a voice in what's being done there, and so should the people. And so I think it's ridiculous that we think private companies or Facebook is a private company, or Twitter or YouTube or PayPal, okay? Because they're not. They're getting, and I can't guarantee that PayPal is. I don't know off the top of my head, but I know Facebook, Twitter, and YouTube are, or were at one point. So let's be honest, folks. These aren't private companies. They're government arms of censorship. And they're censoring everything that they disagree with, and they're labeling it as threats. And I don't know if you're familiar with the Military Commissions Act or the Patriot Act or the National Defense Authorization Act, but if you as an individual are labeled a threat, all your rights constitutionally are thrown out the window, because we are being ruled not by the Constitution, but by the dictates of men. And we are not a country that is free. So what are you going to do about it? You're going to go vote Republican? They're doing it. George Bush signed the National Defense Authorization Act, put in place the Patriot Act, and helped and also promoted and signed into law the Military Commissions Act. Google these things. Google Rex 84 if you want some light reading that will terrify you. These are all crazy things that are now in place for your government, by your government, both Republican and Democrat. PayPal got special tax cuts. I heard Crowder say, yeah, they do. They have absolutely. So tax cuts, incentives, all that kind of stuff. So at the end of the day, guys, you are not free. And if you're not free, my question to you What are you going to do about it? Do what we do. We promote liberty. I would love for you to go to the website, thelibertybell.com, get on our email list, and connect with us. Go to our Facebook page, connect with us. Help us promote liberty. If you're a writer or got content, connect with us. We want to connect with other liberty-minded folks so that we can promote the message of liberty throughout all of America, because it is the message that will save America, liberty. And so that's what we do. And my 5 Minute Friday, which I absolutely need to change the name of because they never go 5 minutes anymore, is up because I've already gone 20. So thanks everybody for tuning in. It's the first time I've gone live through StreamYard. I've had some issues with our back-end thing here on StreamYard, so we've had to do that this week. But hopefully maybe not in the future. I do like the chat feature. Maybe I should do more of this. This guy who's in the chat box over there, thanks for tuning in, man, and sharing some. I do agree with that. And this is, I can show this. Check this out. I have to play with this a little bit. The 10th Amendment is an answer. It is an answer. It is one of the answers, right? So the Constitution is the answer, right? So the 10th Amendment under the Constitution allows for the states to nullify laws. The states have the rights to essentially tell the federal government to shove it up their behind. And we should absolutely do that. Where I'm at, I don't know where you're at, in Louisiana, in a state house that is both House and Senate are ruled by Republicans, and they still won't do that, is because Republicans they don't care about this. We need liberty-minded people to be in office, to run for office, to be accountable to the people. My personal thing is the right to secession. I think we should see much more secession movements around the country because a more localized government is a more accountable government. So I have no problems with the country breaking up, still being under the Constitution and 3 or 4 different, what Thomas Jefferson called the 3 empires of liberty. But that's for another day. Anyway, guys, thank you for tuning in. Have a great week. Enjoy your weekend. Do something fun this week with your family. Go to church. Watch a sunset. It's going to get cooler next week, so you better get ready. If you haven't gone out and played, cut the grass one more time. And you know what? Pass on a little nugget of truth of liberty to a friend, and maybe we can get this this movement building more steam. Abbott, here in Texas, and Abbott's not trustworthy. I agree with you, man. Abbott, man, you guys had some good candidates, and they still went with Abbott. I apologize. Anyway, that's it for me, guys. Have a great weekend. This guy, thanks for checking out. Maybe I'll go live every week. That would be fun. So I think I will, because this guy's here. This guy, don't forget to subscribe to our YouTube channel here. Go to our website and connect with us, and we will talk to you next week. Take care, guys.